I was reading a book more recently by James Clear, Atomic Habits. It's a wonderful book on what habits are and how you form them, how you break bad habits and develop good ones. But he says in there, and I may mess up the numbers, so forgive me. He says in there that in the human body, there are 12 million sensory receptors. 10 million of them are committed to the sense of sight. God built us to be an example to people. Now, you have a podcast, I have a pulpit. We talk to thousands of people, Travis. Talk is cheap, bro. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
People believe things when they see it with their own eyes. That's how God built us. Follow the numbers, you'll always get to the truth. God designed us for the Oikos principle. He built us relationally. He built us with limitations. He gave us focus. And he designed us in terms of our anatomy to have the most impact when people are close enough to us to not just hear what we say, but to see what we do with it. Mm. And so when we talk about Oikos as a discipleship generator, a lot of people look at it as a evangelism program, like Morris did. God bless him. He's with the Lord now too. And I miss him. God bless him, but it's not a program. What the Oikos principle is it focuses us on the people Jesus came to save. That's all it does. But it activates our physiology. It activates our social wiring. And I tell our church family, you can pick your apps, but you're stuck with your operating system. Mm-hmm. God built us for relationship. And in the first verse of the Bible, in the beginning, they, he, you've got the plural and the singular. You've got the triunity of God declared in Genesis 1:1. And God is a relationship, and he built us relationally, and he built us to be an example and to demonstrate faith. That's why, this is what I tell folks a little bit critical of my upbringing. If there's a criticism I have to my theological upbringing, it's that I was taught, I think, and if I wasn't taught it intentionally, I certainly came away with it as an understanding. I was taught that if you just grow in your faith, you will naturally share your faith with others. Just grow in Christ and watch evangelism happen. And then after a while, I looked around and said, then why doesn't that ever happen? Why do churches that champion just growing in their faith become so internally focused? I've come to believe that when we get a hold of the mission, that understanding the mission and even understanding how Jesus wired us to fulfill the mission pushes us toward wanting to grow in our faith. Our personal growth doesn't motivate mission. Our personal growth generates mission. But it's our personal mission to our oikos that motivates growth. So, we try to, parse that out and nuance the difference between discipleship and evangelism. I think that's criminal.
It's very similar. Because making disciples isn't just the presentation.
You can't say, okay, this is evangelism, this is discipleship, because one depends on the other to be successful.
Right.
If you're only about what we used to call discipleship, which is just learning more about God, if that's all you're about, then you have lost a motivation. Mm. And if all you're about is evangelism, you've lost the generator. It's a closed system that God has given us. Personal growth, personal mission. And man, they feed each other. And so that's why we're all about teaching the Bible. Why do I teach the Bible? Why would I want people to know the scriptures? Why would I want people to be held accountable for godly behavior? Because God wired their oikos to watch them and how they live their life. And so I'm just, again, I'm a science guy.